Any number can be split up into a product of prime factors. Remember, a product is a multiplication, and prime numbers, they are numbers that only have two factors, 1 and the number itself, so they can only be divided by the number 1 and the number themselves. And a factor is anything that multiplies into another number. Okay, so we are going to split 42 up into the primes that are factors of 42. So to start off with, I'm going to remind myself of some prime numbers. I'm going to write them down quickly as a list to get me going. Okay, there are more than that, but that should be enough to get on with. Then I'm going to divide this number 42 up into its factors. I could start off by dividing it by 2 and I would have 21. Now 2 is a prime number, so I'm going to circle it. 21 can obviously be split up into 3 and 7, and they are both prime numbers. So I get, as a product of prime, remember I'm multiplying 2 times 3 times 7. That is that one done. Then I'm going to write 360 as a product of its prime factors. This one says index form. Remember, index form is when we've got numbers to the power. We didn't need to use that for the first question, but we may need to use it for the second one. So I'm going to write 360. I'm going to start off by splitting it into 36 and 10. These are not primes, but they are factors, so I'm not circling them. 10 can be split into 2 and 5 because they multiply to make 10 and they are both prime, so I circle them. Then 36 could be 6 and 6. Again, they're not prime, so they're not being circled, but they can be split into 3 and 2, 3 and 2. Remember, we are looking for factors of the number. So I wouldn't split 6 into 3 and 3 because they would add to make 6. I want a times to make 6. And I circle those. So I will end up with 3 2s and 2 3s and a 5. Now it says in index form, so it's telling me that I have to rewrite this as 2 to the power of 3 times 3 to the power of 2 times 5. You might get a question which asks you to find the HCF and LCM of two numbers. We remind ourselves that the HCF is the highest common factor and the LCM is the lowest common multiple. So the first thing to do would be to split both numbers into their products of prime factors, which I have done. Okay, I have not put these into index form because we're going to use them in a second and it's actually going to be easier to leave them as they are. So once you've done that, the next thing to do would be to draw yourself a Venn diagram. So that's two circles which overlap each other for both numbers. Now I'm going to put into the centre of the circle only the numbers which are in both lists. So we can see that there's a 2 in this list and a 2 in that list, so I put it in the centre. Another 2 in this list, another 2 in that list, I put it in the centre. And lastly, a 2 in both lists again. I'm crossing them off as I go so that we can see what is left. Over here we've now got a 2 and a 3, and on the 56 side we are just left with a 7. So our HCF is going to be just this centre overlap, and that's going to be 2 times 2 times 2, which is going to give us 8. And for the LCM, and that's going to be the numbers in the whole of the Venn diagram, so that would be the 2 times the 3 times the 2 times 2 times 2, and times then by the 7. And when you multiply that all together, you're going to get 336.